Hey guys, ToyKade here, and in today's review video we're going to be looking at an Arcade Bartop from a company called iiRcade. This product was initially launched in 2020 through Kickstarter, in which I did back and pay $299 for this 128GB Bartop version. Their Kickstarter campaign was considered a success despite not reaching their initial goal of 5,000 units. They still managed to draw 1,400 backers, with $600,000 raised during the campaign. So what is an iiRcade? The best way to describe an iiRcade is to take the Wii, a classic console that uses the same II concept, and a classic arcade machine, join them together and you'll get an iiRcade, a console arcade machine. iiRcade is marketed as a premium Wi-Fi enabled arcade machine that can be either a Bartop or a full-size machine, and has the most powerful hardware inside you can get in the sub 600 home arcade market at the moment, and enables you to play retro and modern games as they become available on their game store, which now has over 200 games. Terms such as premium, immersive, and the experience is heavily used in their marketing. So in today's video I'll be providing my opinion and thoughts on the iiRcade, and let you know if it delivers on those claims. Let's get into it. Although the box took a beating, all contents inside were in good condition. From the moment you touch the panel you immediately feel the extra quality in the MDF used here. These are much thicker and heavier than those found on the Arcade 1UP and AT games, and the locking mechanism used here really works and makes it easy to put together. Parts were labelled and instructions were on point, but in saying this Bartop did take me over an hour to put together. Once built, the unit does feel very sturdy, firm, and a sense of quality. iiRcade could have easily skimped out on cheaper MDF like AT games and Arcade 1UP, but I'm glad they didn't because a sense of quality does carry through when playing the unit. It does get let down by the fake orange T molding on the unit. iiRcade decided to use tape, which kinda takes away from the premium feel. Mine arrived with the control panel not working. I was able to power up the unit and that's about it. Upon inspection, you can see the warranty seal was broken. Whether this happened out of the factory, it is unknown. I did reach out to support and they did guide me how to resolve the issue. And simple enough, it was just a loose cable. Support was nice enough to send me a new warranty sticker and a replacement first 100 backers gold sticker that I never received. To this day, I'm still confused by the design. It's clearly inspired by a 90s candy cab in Japan and Korea. And it makes sense since iiRcade has a Korean background. But even with the various skins they offer, it's hard to hide how ugly the cab is. The culprit is truly the lack of curves, and the speakers that protrude out from the top really gives it a Pandora box vibes to it. There is absolutely zero nostalgia to the design, and I have no doubt if the design was different, the outcome of the Kickstarter and even the sales today might be different. The speakers are big and in your face. They are definitely loud when turned up. Does it add to the experience? Unfortunately it doesn't. Instead, it actually taints the experience. The major issue with the sound which the speakers really expose is a loud hissing noise that is constantly there when sound is triggered. Let it be navigating the menu or in-game sound, there is a loud hissing noise. And the triggering aspect of the hissing feels like dated technology from the 90s, and takes away from the premium claim and gives you more of a cheap feel to the product you're using. Apparently this has been a long known issue. It was the first thing I noticed when I switched on my machine for the first time, and even after the latest firmware update, it is still there. I'm not sure why they still haven't addressed this issue yet. Another small quirk is when the system resumes from pause, there will be a pop noise that can be very unpleasant, especially for the kids when the volume is turned up. Overall, the speakers delivers a punch when turned up, and I'm certain if they fix the hissing and pop noise, then it will add to the experience, but as currently presented on the system, it misses the mark. Paired with the 100-watt speaker is a 19-inch HD screen, and the size is perfect. While playing on this machine for the last 2 months, the screen really brings me back to how I remember playing games in the arcade visually. Compared to other competing products in the home arcade market, 19-inch is probably the closest to the most common screen found in the arcade machines. However, the viewing angle are really bad. Not just bad, really bad on these screens, especially for kids from a lower angle. This was not evident to me during my testing, but was only made aware when my kids complained they couldn't see the screen, even though they were at what I thought was an acceptable level similar to playing on AT games and Arcade 1UP. The Bartop pretty much made it unplayable for kids when placed on a table. You would need a really high but unsafe chair to achieve the clear view for the kids. But luckily, one of the major advantages of the Bartop is that it can be played on any surface, and the only solution for the kids was to place the Bartop on the floor. Not ideal, but it kept them happy as they can keep playing beach buggy. So for those looking to buy for kids, just keep this in mind. Another issue with the screen is a plexiglass bezel. The bezel came with a protective sheet on one side only, which allowed the other side to be exposed and scratched. Unfortunately, this will happen to mine. Mine had scratches everywhere, which was very disappointing and really takes away from that premium and quality feel. This is not the only flaw with the bezel. As I have a Bartop version, I found myself taking advantage of the portability of the unit, but this exposed a design flaw with the bezel. The bezel is not firmly mounted into the cab, and any movement may cause the bezel to fall off from the mount, and even scratch or potentially break the bezel. I found this design puzzling, especially for a Bartop where it's expected to be portable. The control panel is a place where you feel the quality that is unseen on other products on the market. It has a nice glass feel finish which is pleasant to rest your palms on. The joystick and buttons are Sanwa-like and responsive as they should. The major issue of the control panel is the power button. The power button is designed to work at two different levels, press and release and press and hold. Press and release is to sleep the unit, and when you hold the button for more than 10 seconds, this will power off or on the unit. But from my experience, it's really hit and miss with this button. There are times when you press the button and the unit doesn't power on or off. It's really one of those press and hold and hope for the best, which is actually quite annoying. There is a nice addition of a pause and also a coin button, which recreates the amusement feel when inserting coins. And having the ability to pause the game, especially when you have kids, is a great addition. I found myself using this a lot. There is also a headphone jack which enables you to play at night without disturbing the family, and overall the control panel works. However, mine had an issue with the panel starting to split. I only discovered this when trying to fix the initial issue of the loose cable. As you can see, the wood is splitting on pretty much every hold. Not sure how this will hold up against time, but assuming I won't open the control panel, this shouldn't be an issue, but it is one you should be aware of. On the back of the control panel is a HDMI Out port. So technically this can be a portable control panel like those of a Pandora box product. Simply plug in the power and HDMI cable to a TV, and you can play this anywhere without the bar top or the pedestal. Cool little feature. The specification is pretty impressive. The CPU is a 1.8 GHz Hexa-Core. The GPU is 800 MHz max quad core. It comes with 4 GB dual-channel RAM. Storage, there are two options, a 64 GB or 128 GB. It has Sanwa-like joysticks and buttons, Wi-Fi 5, Bluetooth capability, and the OS is based on Android, which is optimized for gaming. I am not a fan of the interface. This, along with the boxy design with the flawed sound and interface, really continues to give you the Pandora's vibe. But in saying that, this is simplistic and works. There are noticeable sound lags, and the effects are just outdated and annoying at times. There is also a missed opportunity here with the intro screen where it looks great, but just missing the sound effects. But these are easy fixes that iiRcade can do with a patch. But overall, the experience falls short from an interface perspective and does feel incomplete, which is not surprising since this was only launched late last year. So it's just a matter of time. The iiRcade comes preloaded with 11 games. These are Beach Buggy Racing, Bomb Squad, Diver Boy, Double Dragon, Dragon Master, Dragon's Lair, Fancy World, Gunbird, Maniac Square, Snowboard Championship, and Twin Brats. Most of the preloaded games are underwhelming, and the only games worth mentioning is Dragon's Lair, Bomb Squad, Double Dragon, and Beach Buggy. Dragon Lair, although not the original arcade ROM, plays exactly the same and still one of the most toughest game I played, even to this day. I still struggle with the gameplay, but the animation is great to watch. Double Dragon is the main title that interests me when this was first announced. It is the title that I've been waiting for Arcade 1UP to announce, but they never did. So it's nice to actually get this game on an arcade machine, and one that still brings a smile to me as it reminds me when I was a kid at amusements. This leads me to the two most popular games in the household, Bomb Squad and Beach Buggy. Bomb Squad is a super fun game that I've never played until iiRcade, and man, I've been missing out. It's a fast-paced party game, and is also the only online capable game at the moment, which is huge. The game is not only restricted to other iiRcade owners, but also cross-platform enables, so there's always a game out there if you want to play real players. This is where iiRcade shines. Being able to play modern arcade games online in an arcade format is unique, and the selling point of the iiRcade. But it should be noted that of the 200 plus games available on iiRcade, this is the only online enabled game. Beach Buggy, my kid's favourite, this game gets played the most. It's a surprisingly fun game, even myself enjoying it. Trying to find the shortcuts on every track, setting up traps for the kids, it's a great game. And I'm scared to tell the kids there is Beach Buggy 2 that's also available on the online store. The included game is decent value in comparison to Arcade 1UP where you get 2 to 4 titles. Although only 4 games are worth mentioning, the 4 games here gives you a mix of nostalgia, fun and online capability. And if you want more, there's an online game store. The games library is ever expanding. At the time of recording there was over 230 titles available, with games being announced every week from various publishers including Data East, Sega, Psycho, IREM, Victor Unit. However, the biggest issue and the major concern with the consumers is the lack of AAA titles. Right from the start, when iiRcade was announced, there was marketing images of Street Fighter, Tekken, but nearly a year on, we have yet to see those classic AAA titles. The success of this unit is to at least bring these titles, but it's really a catch-22 here for iiRcade. In order to get these publishers to jump on board, they really need to show enough data and consumer base to warrant such titles. But without these titles, a lot of consumers will wait and see. This is probably the reason why we're seeing a lot of modern games being announced. Games that are traditionally found on consoles or mobile phones are being ported and made available on the arcade platform. This is definitely a unique but a small niche. So the online game store can be accessed via Android phone app or a web browser. I own an iPhone, so I can't comment on the experience with the app, but the web store is very straightforward and simple to use. Once you've purchased the game, the account details auto syncs with your machine, and the next time you power it on, it automatically installs, very seamless. Game prices can vary from game to game, but it was promised at the Kickstarter campaign that games will vary between $3 to $15, which has been the case with the exception of a few modern titles such as Retromania, Dead Cells and Beach Buggy. For modern games, the pricing seems fair and right. My only discomfort is the prices of the older games, most being between $6 to $8. Maybe I'm spoiled playing these games free on other devices, but now presented with the same game with no online capability or even a physical media. But iiRcade recently did enable leaderboard for 50 titles in the library, so that's the advantage there if you're into that. So what are my final thoughts after owning a Bartop for a few months? Overall, it definitely feels like a premium machine, which compared to other products on the market such as Arcade Bartop and NAT games, but it does have obvious shortcuts and flaws to the design. The huge issue is the viewing angles on the screen, and there is no way to hide how ugly the unit is. And sure enough, the new skins deflect away from that, but a few curves and high-dose speakers will make a huge difference, especially for sales. Issues such as the bezel not mounted safely, cheap T-molding, splitting wood on the control panel are minor, but as a consumer you should be aware of these issues, especially the viewing angles. The software and sound feels incomplete and definitely needs more work. The visual experience is there on certain angles, but it's hugely let down by the annoying hissing noise in the background. However, these can be improved and fixed over time, and stuff I can live with in the short term, but if you're expecting a premium product with a premium experience out of the box, you may be slightly disappointed. The product at its current state feels like a beta, which is about right for a Kickstarter product that were only released late last year. Let's talk about what's great about the cab. You can't ignore that iiRcade is the most powerful arcade system on the market. You actually get a lot for what you pay for. It can run any retro game and most modern games. That is a huge upside to the product. The titles possible on this cab is endless, but it's all dependent on what iiRcade can get. And at the moment, it may be a long wait for those titles to arrive. But when it's available, it's simple as buying a game online and bang, it's in your machine. There is no need to buy multiple cabs if you don't have the space, and there is nothing on the market that offers this. What is really cool and appealing with this cab is that it's really a community cab. What I mean by this is the CEO of iiRcade runs a YouTube channel and streams live on Facebook every week to share the news and announcements. His energy and enthusiasm is contagious. By calling all watchers family has really appealed to many, and if you ever watch any of his stream, you can sense a cult following with his followers, in which is sometimes puzzling as a casual observer when everybody gets hyped and most time overhyped and excited about an announcement of a game that I've never heard of or rank highly. With him being the face of iiRcade, it has managed to keep this product relevant. Overall, I'm happy with the Bartop for the Kickstarter price I paid. There is a huge upside to this product despite all the quirks I pointed out earlier. But this is still early days for iiRcade. It is an unfinished book and has lots of work that needs to be done on all fronts such as aesthetics, sound, user interface, games list, and most importantly, online features. Even if they give you all the classic and modern games, is it enough? Where Wi-Fi online gameplay is starting to become the standard for newly released cabs from Arcade Bartop, iiRcade needs to bring more than just a game port, especially when their system is locked down. For me, a device that claims to be a connected arcade machine, there isn't much online feature available. If you were to look at the current 230 odd games, only one has online capability, which is really underwhelming if you're trying to differentiate yourself from other products out there offering the same games. I would like to see more online capable games being ported to iiRcade, and I'm sure they will bring this in the future. The recent addition of the free jukebox beta app is welcomed, but still needs a lot of work, such as the loud hissing noise, speakers remaining active, music streaming while it's in sleep mode, constant Bluetooth connected prompt after coming out of the blank screen mode, but it's definitely a nice feature to have. Without the big publishers such as Namco, Capcom jumping on board, it's going to be tough to draw more adopters to the iiRcade. And currently it seems like they're targeting smaller publishers which will bring a mixture of low tier retro games or modern games. However, modern games which are traditionally found on console is a smaller market of consumers who are less drawn to arcade machines. So essentially iiRcade is going to be a niche within a niche. But for me, it's a thumbs up. The a la carte system has really recreated the old days where you appreciate each game you purchase. Would I recommend it? This is not a simple yes or no answer. To be honest, this is a tough one. I would recommend you do some research and watch other reviewers where the owners has paid for their own unit and assess if iiRcade fits your need. At the moment, it's an incomplete work in progress product and it shows. For me, I'm keeping the Bartop. There's huge potential for iiRcade that I can't ignore, and I will be purchasing the pedestal in the future to make it a full-size arcade machine. Plus my kids won't let me sell it once they find out Beach Buggy 2 is also available. Alright guys, that's all for this video. If you're keen on buying one, I'll leave a link below. I'm really keen to know what are your thoughts on iiRcade, and what games and features do you want to see from iiRcade? Let me know in the comments below. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you haven't subscribed, make sure you hit the subscribe button and support the channel. And hit that like button if you found this video useful. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.